Nice. Speaking of security, a big complaint that I see so much in social media around using Gen AI for code generation specifically, but you can see how that ties pretty closely to what we're doing here. We have code reviews happening with Gen AI systems and agentic systems. One of the big complaints is people will say, "Oh, you know, it's not using best practices all the time. There's all kinds of security holes that end up getting picked up from Stack Overflow just by spitting out some result that works but has all kinds of security holes in it." I come across this all the time, and it's especially one of the things that, as we've gone from GPT-2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and the code generation capabilities have become more and more threatening to software engineers. It seems like I'm seeing this kind of like, oh, well, the obviously when it's GPT-2, the code is so bad, there's no threat. Eh,
Yes, that's true.
and then GPT-4, you're starting to see, okay, well, there's this wide range of things that this generative tool can do. But look at all these places where you still absolutely need a human in the loop. I can't be replaced. And now that we're kind of at GPT-5, the security thing comes up a lot. I don't really buy it. And I wonder if you have any thoughts on that. In particular, CodeRabbit emphasizes reducing alert fatigue by providing actionable, prioritized security insights. So, yeah, it seems like CodeRabbit has kind of caught on to what I see is that actually machines can be way more vigilant than humans in spotting issues and could probably create a more secure system than a human anyway.
Yes, I agree with that statement because of the fact that machines don't need sleep. They don't need food. They don't lose attention. They just sit there and they stare at this thing, right? And they're just going to keep staring at it until they find whatever that they need to find. And the more we teach them and the more we get better at this, from a context engineering perspective, the more and more unlikely it is that a human's going to find some security issue that we missed. And I think what people are coming from when they talk about code generators, learning from Stack Overflow, and there's some security issue is the assumption essentially that the training data gets replicated, right? And to a certain degree, there is we have to understand that these are probabilistic machines, right? And so at the end of the day, they are picking and choosing things based on what they see very frequently, and they're trying to mold that into the surrounding context of whatever your code is right now. So they can output things that are novel, right? They do output things that are novel. They're not. It's not a database. It's a probabilistic machine, the same way that our brains are probabilistic machines, right? Now, will they make mistakes? Yes, that's why we need things like CodeRabbit, right? They're going to make mistakes. They are getting better and better all the time because I can take that initially trained probabilistic machine and I can do a lot of stuff to it after the fact. I can make sure that when I output code, I run it through some system looking for security issues. And if it finds it, I can rate that low. And one that didn't have that problem, I can rate up. And guess what? This reinforcement learning technique over time is going to remove these issues. And they're putting a lot of effort into this, right? A lot of effort, a lot of money, a lot of like human effort into this process of labeling and getting this feedback and iterating on it. These systems are going to get to the point where they're significantly better than people at most of these tasks. My hope is I watched this talk. I think it was about a month, maybe two ago, from Andrew Ng, where he brought up a really interesting point. Okay, coding has shifted dramatically from the 70s, right? You think about going back, punch cards, right? And everybody's like, okay, this is very tedious. There are very few programmers at that particular point in time. And then we go into sort of symbolic computing. You're talking about doing things like just doing machine level code, right? Again, super tedious compared to what we do now. More programmers came around, but it's significantly easier. People are doing punch cards. This is way too easy. Then you get things like COBOL, right? And then all right, now it's way easier. People can do this like high level representational language to be able to get things done on a machine. And the people who used to code a machine language are like, this is way too easy. These are not coders. We're coders, right? And it constantly has this progression. You get simpler and simpler, higher and higher order languages, and you get not less coders, you get more. You get more engineers. So we just changed the definition of what being a software developer actually is. And so I think we need to take a little bit of a step back. And it's a frightening moment. I get it. I really do. I get it. But if we take a step back and we think, what is this going to do? Most likely, it's going to allow a lot of people who previously would never have engaged with the idea of building software to suddenly engage with building software. And so, if we allow for that, if we allow for that to expand our definition of what it means to be a software developer, if we just allow for that for a moment and we let these people stumble through into this new world, we get to greatly expand the amount of things that are going to come out. The imagination that we get to now engage with, right, through software is going to be greatly expanded. And I think we will benefit from that as a society, as other software engineers. We are now going to be engaging with this on a deeper level. And I think we are going to see people move towards over the next 5, 10 years to, can I talk to an AI system in a way that leads to the outcome that I want? And we still might need the understanding of large scale systems. And when this gets deployed, I need to make sure, because do I use Kubernetes? Do I use Cloud Run? Do I use Redis as a cache in this instance? Do I not? Some of these questions, there's multiple right answers, and choosing those can be difficult. And maybe those expertise levels will stick around a little bit longer. But I do think this is a good thing, generally speaking.